Hi, I'm Steve Placer, and welcome to this edition of Nonprofit Spotlight. Nonprofit Spotlight is a production of the Volunteer Advisory Committee here at Community Television. And every month we highlight a nonprofit in our city or county that's doing great work. And today we're really happy to have with us Digital Nest. We have Jane Tobias. Welcome, Jane. And Gabriel Medina. I was telling Gabriel and Jane that one of the first, if not the first, nonprofit spotlight that we did was with Jacob Martinez and Digital Nest. So we're really delighted to have you back. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourselves and kind of how you got involved with the Nest. Jane, you want to start?
Sure. Just about a year ago, I was a member myself at the Nest. I was brought over for the Screenwriters Lab they were offering in the fall of 2017. And in that lab, I was able to work on an idea I had for a script, develop it, learn how to write a screenplay. I'd never done that before. And it was selected to be produced summer 2018. So we did the production of Service with a Smile, science fiction short film. And just last week, it premiered at the Watsonville Film Festival.
Wonderful,
So we've come
terrific.
full circle.
Well, it's terrific. And Gabriel, how did you get started with the Nest?
Yeah, so I actually started off as a volunteer running the film boot camp
yeah.
that were like a 1-week intensive film training. Which was a really ambitious idea at the time.
Wow.
So yeah, with high school students. And then, you know, after that, Jacob, I let him know that I was gonna move back to LA. You know, I had picked up a job with E! Entertainment News as a production assistant up there, or down there. And he was just like, dude, like, we love what you're doing with the youth here.
Wow.
And, you know, we really wanna bring you on board. Like, would you like to come on board to the Digital Nest staff? And I said, absolutely. So that's how I got started with the Digital Nest about 3 years ago.
Well, the Nest is such an integrative, an innovative, and creative and wonderful idea. I wanted to read to our audience the mission, just so they get an idea of kind of what you're doing if they're unfamiliar with what the work is. Digital Nest, which is nurturing entrepreneurial skills with technology, is dedicated to providing equal access to technology and resources to young people in the underserved communities. Digital Nest seeks to stimulate economic development by providing youth with the training, workforce skills, and inspiration to reach their full potential in school, in careers, and in life. And I think this is such a wonderful mission, particularly with youth, but particularly with underserved youth in the South County.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about you know, providing that access and technology that way we have an equal playing field for everybody who wants to get involved with the creative industry. So I think we've done a really good job over these you know 3 or 4 years that we've been around to really bridge that. Right now, it's not so much of you know, the technology gap. We kind of got rid of that. We're seeing in Watsonville. You know, we have the computers, we have the tech, we have the software for people. Now it's about developing those skills to learn how to use that software and technology in order to advance their careers, you know, within the entertainment industry or wherever they would like to go.
It's interesting that you kind of characterize that as an ongoing organic process, because it is really important. You know, while we're talking about youth and we're talking about Digital Nest, it's a good opportunity, I think, to show some film clips we have that were produced by some of your folks there at the Digital Nest in cooperation with Community Television. And then we'll talk a little bit about a grant program that we have that provides equipment so these kinds of productions can continue. So let's see if we can do that.
The Rotary Club of Santa Cruz is an area nonprofit organization made up of business, civic, and professional leaders. Our club works to improve lives of members of our communities, both locally and internationally.
So that's great. You know, what you're seeing is a collaboration between Digital Nest students, staff, and some agencies, as you were saying, and the community television, we're proud to say, because it's part of the community television youth AV grant guidelines. So what we're doing here is we're looking for organizations that enhance academic achievement, and you really have to have a curriculum. But any nonprofit that really wants to apply to CTV to use our equipment to make, you know, either films like this or short films or productions of any kind, then they're able to apply to community television, and we have a link up on the screen so you can see that. It's a terrific program that we have, and I'm really delighted to kind of find out more about it myself, because CTV is trying to do a lot more outreach into the community, just as you do. You know, and so we're all collaborative partners, I think, in kind of raising awareness, educating people, and really providing people with opportunities to be creative, or to, as they, you know, follow that kind of organic, you know, life path into maybe some technologically related area. So tell us a little bit more about, this is BizNest made these, which is a program of yours. So tell us a little bit about BizNest.
Yeah, so I'll go back a little bit before
Please
you
do,
get to
yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So Jane and I work in the Digital Arts and Technology program, and we focus on video production, graphic design, music production, and I'm missing one. What's the last one? And photography. And photography. Within those areas, we start focusing on trainings in 1, 2, 3, right? Beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
Right.
As they progress through the trainings, they get access to better equipment. So the CTV equipment that we utilize is level 3. That's the highest level that you could get at the Digital Nest, and that's our BizNest members. Meaning that they have these tremendous skills, and now they're ready to put them into practice to add to their portfolios. And do you want to talk a little bit more about some of the trainings that we do?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so the trainings look like meetups. So it's trying to deconstruct what would be a traditional classroom into a more collaborative space. So there's facilitators, usually volunteers, sometimes myself or Gabe, who come in usually in the afternoons, and they have some kind of industry experience or background they can offer and mentor the students with. So David Rosales is one of our photography meetup, and he comes through. Also Carlos Campos, a lot of people from the community who are already doing this skill as a profession. So he's a photographer, and he gets to work with students who are curious about, how do I use a camera, how do I go out and shoot events, things like that. So that's one of our tracks with photography. We do the same with graphic design.
Wonderful.
Same with video and music production. We have Oliver Whitcroft who comes in. He works at KZSC radio station.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he does a lot of other types of art. He's like a multimedia artist, but he's great with music. So he'll even bring in a record player, and some of the kids have never seen records before, and we'll sample songs from the record player, and then do music production basics to take that and turn it into a song. So we have people rapping, we have people playing guitar.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a fun space. Try to keep it casual and really nurture their interests.
So how do youth, and particularly underserved youth, because I really think that's so important, find their way into the program?
Yeah,
Find their way to your door.
So usually, you know, word of mouth is really big in the community of Watsonville. If you're doing really well as a nonprofit, a lot of people are going to know about that. So we have some really good name ID in the community of Watsonville, and that's also thanks to the people that work at the Digital Nest. A lot of us are from Watsonville. So I myself was born and raised in Watsonville, went to Watsonville High School. I have a really great relationship with those counselors and teachers. So we're utilizing those connections that we have there to get students in there. We also have this really amazing recruiter named Alexis who goes out and really just spreads the message about the Digital Nest and lets people know this is absolutely free. We do not charge anything to be a part of our program. All we want to do is prepare you for, you know, the 21st century and what's to come with this huge wave of technology that we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always thought, although I'm a Santa Cruz native, when I've been to Watsonville, and I do know some folks down there and some of the city council, which is very supportive of a whole range of community activities, that it's very community-centered. And so I can see where word of mouth would be particularly important to the success and really the growth of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, our new mayor, Francisco Estrada, has done an amazing job of, you know, bringing a new voice, a millennial type of voice to the city council that, you know, embraces even our youngest youth and what they want to do and accomplish. He's really trying to work with local organizations, especially the Digital Nest, to really see what we could do for our youth in the community because, you know, they're going to be the next wave of people that come into these positions. So.
He even appeared in our short film.
Yeah, he was in our
Service
short
with a Smile.
film. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
This
he had
was
a
before he
cameo.
was mayor, so it was awesome seeing him there.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
One of our rebel leaders.
That's wonderful. So basically, what age range of the youth are you serving with the Digital Nest? Would you say?
Yeah, so it's ages 14 to 24.
Okay.
But they say once you're a member at the Nest, you're always a member at the Nest.
Wonderful. That's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, we're developing an alum nest program.
Oh, for goodness sakes, I like that.
So we try getting you in the door before you turn 24. That way you
Yeah.
have that, you know, alum nest status with us,
Yeah.
and you can continue using our services.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, and it's just really neat to see how you can grow within the Nest because you can be a member, develop skills, show that you're serious about maybe graphic design or something, videography, and then end up in BizNest where you develop even further. You get the soft skills. You're working with clients. And when you graduate, people come back. People come back. To
I was wondering about that, you know, whether or not there are people who would kind of, you know, stay with the Nest, you know, for this Nest for life or something, or become on staff or volunteers or really continue to contribute to the effort.
Absolutely. We have members that, you know, Jane's story, she was a member who became a staff member. And we have a few others who had gone down that pathway as well. A lot of our members who actually leave, you know, the area, go off to college, they'll come back during the summertime and help us with our big productions that we have going on. So we definitely see the impact that the Nest has had. And, you know, once you leave the Nest and those resources and you come back to the community, it's there for you, which is a really nice breath of fresh air.
So administratively, you have volunteers as well as full-time staff or part-time staff?
Yeah, so with the volunteers is, you know, our staff can't do everything.
Of course
so
not,
we definitely want to tap into, you know, the talent that we have in our area. So like Jane said, we love working with local, you know, creatives, especially with our department. So photographers, filmmakers, artists, you know, and that way our youth could also see like there are people here in this area that have these skills. You don't have to go to LA or to these big cities in order to be successful artist or a videographer, filmmaker.
And I think a lot of students who come to the Nest don't get that message at home. I know I didn't always think that a creative career was possible.
Wow,
so just that visibility of someone who comes in and, oh yeah, I do graphic design work, that's how I make my living, it suddenly becomes a reality for them. And they're like, this is something I could actually do.
You were saying that one of the shorts was submitted to the Watsonville Film Festival. Is that kind of an aspiration for folks sometimes? They want to make something that can actually have it screened, say, at Real Work or Watsonville or something like that?
Yeah, so the goal of our film program is to not only show members the creative process in creating a film from pre-production to post-production to exhibition and distribution, but we also want to teach them you know, what it means to make your own projects. So I think within the film program, we're definitely doing that. If you try going off to Hollywood and you have no film background or experience under your belt, it's going to be really hard to get into the industry. So what we do is we tell you, hey, this is a film project that we do every summer. This is your chance to develop your filmmaking skills, whether you're an actor or somebody who wants to be behind the camera, because it's all about experience. And if you start developing that right in high school, by the time you graduate and let's say go off to a 4-year and apply to a film program, and they see that you have 2 years experience making a film, that is going to make you stand out application-wise. So we really want our members to see the big picture of why we're doing these things.
And we were talking about the clips that we'd seen. When I reviewed them myself, I was just amazed at the high quality, high production value and the professionalism of those particular clips. So, and those were made with business, did you say, and students and staff, and using the CTV equipment that we talked about. One of the things that happened with the community television and why the Volunteer Advisory Committee here that produces this show and actually runs the public access side of community television. When we had some of our funding cut, one of the things we still have money for is facilities and equipment. So the equipment that people can expect to get through this grant program and use to make the productions as like we saw are the very highest quality. So it's really helpful, I think, to have high quality equipment so that you can really test yourself against things that demand from you, some expertise and some learning curve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, having the equipment is absolutely tremendous. And, one thing that we try installing in our members too is technology has advanced so much that people are creating stuff with their phones, even right now.
Yeah.
But it's still really good to have a holistic approach to how to use different types of equipment because within the industry, nobody's just using one camera. They're using a variety of different cameras.
Right.
So it's really good to get your feet wet in working with different types of equipment because it's going to be totally useful later on in life.
And besides the technical skills that come with operating a camera or learning how to, do production design and do set dressing or whatever our film projects require, there's also soft skills that are built into it. So these are skills that would be like accountability, working in a team, being able to project manage or coordinate things that are applicable to all fields. So someone could come through and say, yeah, I like film, but when they leave, they're also being trained professionally. How do I carry myself on the set? How do I communicate with my manager or my producer that, I can't make it today, or here we're having a hiccup with this equipment. How do we problem solve on the spot?
Yeah.
So there's some kind of what we call soft skills that are happening behind the scenes. It's not a literal way of learning it, but the experience gives that.
I think it's important that you're learning management skills or business skills that instills, I think, in particularly young people, kind of a discipline. How do we organize? How would I approach this? How would I task analyze this? And how would I make this happen? Even with the technical skills I have, but organizing other people to help me, fulfill my dream, my vision. It's interesting that you're teaching this wide range and offering this wide range of opportunities to learn stuff, because anybody who's interested in film, for instance, if you go to a theater and look at the credits, at the end, and see how many different aspects there are to making something. Is your interest, cinematography or editing or sound, or being behind a camera, as you say, wonderful opportunities. And I know that when I looked at the website, you have a host of other programs.
Yeah.
So talk about just a few of those if you will have some time.
So Jane and I run the Digital Arts and Technology Department, and we have two other departments. One is People, Projects, and Leadership, and that's focused on project management and leadership development.
Great.
So that program really works with community organizations. For example, the Watsonville Film Festival. They help to coordinate the entire production of that, from when people came and picked up their tickets to viewing the experience within the theater to purchasing merchandise. They were coordinating all that.
Wow.
And then we have our, which is pretty awesome.
It is.
And we have our Web and Information Technology program, and they focus on systems admin, web, and IT. So they're teaching members how to code using Python, C++, and how to do back-end web services, and also how to maintain data. Data is a big driving force right now that a lot of companies want, right? Like, what's going on? How could we read this data? So they're learning how to take that data and design it into visual graphics as well. So, and we all kind of work together in, creating like the film project, right? Our department does the technical stuff, but somebody from the people program will come over and help me coordinate the production, the craft service table, organizing the actors. And also we had somebody for SWAS create a website for the actual film that was a member of the Digital Nest.
Right.
So all of our programs are usually in sync with each other, and we don't like isolating one program to just being specific to one project.
And I think it's just fascinating to me, and it hadn't occurred to me the business skills and management component of all this. And you're thinking about, well, let's be creative and let's learn how to make a film or how to do sound and that. But there's so much more involved, and so much more that's valuable to young people, as they grow throughout their young lives.
Yeah, one thing that I like telling them, as creatives, we're never finished with our project. We just meet our deadlines.
Right.
That's exactly what we have to do. And I think, us going into film, I think the beauty of film is it touches into so many different disciplines, right? You have project management within a film. You have team collaboration that you need to focus on. You need, this group of people to work together. And if they don't, that's going to really show in the project. Also, film brings in graphic design because we have these really cool graphic openings that we're seeing, right? Especially with the new new Spider-Man film that just came out, right?
Yeah.
Heavy graphics, and we're
Yeah.
teaching members like, don't think video is
very
just
well
picking up-
received.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so video isn't just picking up a film and
Right.
going off into the world and coordinating actors, but you could go the documentary route, you could go the animation route. You know, there's so many things that you could do with film. And also we're teaching music production because films need audio and
Right.
music, right,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
enhance them. So we're teaching that skill as well.
Well, it's an interesting comment because, you know, where you never feel through with your creative ideas. We're never really through creating ourselves.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
so it's a lifelong project. When somebody identifies a project they might like to pursue, do they are able to pick their own team, or they say, well, I would like to have this person, and put a team together themselves, or is that kind of staff aided or volunteer aided?
Yeah, so it's really dependent on the project. So business really focuses on working with local organizations who need video services.
Right.
For example, like that video we ran about the event
Exactly.
documentation,
Yeah,
right?
of
A lot of
course.
organizations want people to see the events that they're putting on.
Right.
Our department specifically focuses on narrative content. So we're teaching them, because narrative is, I went to schooling for narrative, and I find narrative that I have more control of it than I would a documentary project.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good start to teach members.
Mm-hmm.
This is something we created, this is how we could schedule it, and this is how we could adjust it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really teaching them those skills in our department, and as they progress to business, they're really learning how to make quick decisions for documentary and commercial films. So.
And Gabriel certainly is enthusiastic about his areas of expertise. How about the things that you're excited about when you're working with the Nest and the young folks there?
Sure. Right now, I'm learning along with the students graphic design. So I'm leading the Media Creator Meetup, and that's really fun to come teaching a class from that perspective. I'm also learning as I go. Another thing I'm really excited about is the podcast.
Oh my!
Yeah, we're creating a journalism route at the Nest right now, very early stages, but we partnered with UCSC and KZSC radio station
Oh,
to
great.
offer an audiovisual journalism class.
No kidding.
And so they come down once a week and work with high school students who are in the concurrent enrollment program. They're taking a Cabrillo class and getting high school credit for it and college credit. And this is like a supplemental class for that group. So they get to learn about documentary work, about journalism. And after this is like kind of our pilot, we're going to look into creating projects that and a track for journalism and podcasting.
Wow.
So that's something I'm excited about
Yeah.
right now.
Well, Gabriel, obviously, his eyes lit up when he said podcasting. It's
When I came into the Watsonville area, I really wanted to see how we could impact the community with media. And when Jane came on board and showed this interest in podcasting, I was like, dude, we need to develop a program because podcasting is so awesome. And we have a lot of stories that we should be documenting in the Watsonville area. So Jane's done a really good job of participating with the AVG course and really training up our members to be this next wave of audio documentarians to come and really document those really core stories that we had. We just had a podcast with a new pizza organization that's going to be in downtown. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, Project Slice is going to be a new pizzeria opening up on Main Street in Watsonville.
Project Slice.
Yeah, so they
love
said they
it.
do like a West Coast New York style pizza.
Okay, yeah.
I'm curious to see what that looks
Oh,
like.
yeah.
But they're going to have some local brews in there too. So they do craft brewing, and then they have pizza. So I got to meet with the owner and their brothers who kind of both had interest in the food industry. One likes to brew beer and the other likes to make pizza.
Yeah.
So they found a space in Watsonville and
I'll be darned.
they're opening up. So we'd like to cover people who are entrepreneurs in Watsonville, who are opening up small businesses, people who are activists. There's a group called the Revalunas, who are a group of activists working in the Watsonville area
Wonderful.
to support women. And so I've interviewed them, and so we're starting to pick people out. I'd like to interview the mayor at some point, so to get just people who have stories to share and have a platform where that can be heard and shared with a wider audience.
Yeah. And it's, Watsonville and Salinas are certainly very fortunate to have you, but in turn, you're very fortunate to be working in an area that is so rich culturally.
Yes.
Oh,
And there's so much to tap into.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just so it's interesting because the cultural impact we're seeing that in the classroom. A lot of these members, it's finding your identity, who you are.
Of course.
We all grow up in Watsonville, so we're used to what Watsonville's all about. When we go outside Watsonville, that's when we realize how good we had it in Watsonville. All right, because you know, and we're seeing with members, they're just really embracing their culture now, which I really appreciate compared
wonderful.
to a few
Yeah.
years ago. And you know,
Wonderful.
we all kind of know why that's happening.
Yeah.
Politically, they're hearing a message about them,
Yes,
and
that's
now
right.
they're really challenging that by expressing themselves creatively and having a really good stance on what
Yeah.
they want to do. You know, a lot of them are raising concerns about what's happening in Watsonville. Like housing is a really big issue that they're starting to think about in high school. It's just like, you know, what forced you to think like that? And it's like, well, oh, it's this political climate that's really making these young people think about, you know, who they are as a person.
Right.
And I think, you know, the Digital Nest gives them the tools to express
Yeah.
themselves in whatever they
And I
want.
think it's important to give those young people a vehicle to address the
Absolutely.
larger issues of housing and immigration and cultural history and things like that. And certainly you're providing that. We've got a minute or so left. I do want to mention, although this show is evergreen, you're having a 2-year anniversary in your Salinas facility, which is wonderful. Congratulations with that great work. And I wanted to mention just in passing the CTV grant program for so you can, you know, your organization, your nonprofit, presuming you have a curriculum, can get some equipment from CTV and make some of the wonderful high quality videos that we just saw. But we've got just another minute. Give us another few words on how you see the future of the Digital Nest moving forward.
Yeah, the future of the Digital Nest. I definitely see us expanding out more to other communities that are underserved. That way we could really provide these tools and access that we have given to the Watsonville and Salinas area.
Right.
And you would just be amazed at, you know, coming into a space where you're told you could be whatever you want.
Wonderful.
This is how you could do it. Is really encouraging to members. I know when I was in high school, a teacher told me, once you, I was on the math path. I was going to be a mathematician. I got into UCLA as a math major. So, and you know, I was kind of battling with myself my senior year, like, do I want to go into math or do I really want to go into video? You know, math is more secure. Video is like, oh, that's a cool hobby. But, you know, I decided to stick with video, and it's something that I don't regret, and I want other people to feel like
Wonderful.
they're not
Wonderful,
isolated.
wonderful work. I'm really delighted to have the Digital Nest back. Thank you, Gabriel and Jane, for being here and really giving us, you know, such a knowledgeable and passionate and enthusiastic, you know, overview, just a little taste of what you all do here. Thanks very much for tuning in to this edition of Nonprofit Spotlight. We'll be back next month highlighting another nonprofit in our community that's doing wonderful, wonderful work, such as the Digital Nest. So we'll see you next time. Goodbye.